Hi, this is Christian, another video on Angular. This one here, I'm going to go over the ngFor, which is a loop that loops through an array of items. Now, the ngFor only works with array. It won't work with objects. So that's one thing you want to keep in mind. And here in the textbook, it talks about what gives you the syntax for that briefly. So you could use this on any element of the HTML element or your own custom element. That's fine too. And again, the star ng, the capital F of 4, and then equal sign, and this is the loop. Okay, it's like the condition. If you remember your JavaScript, this is very similar to that. The only difference is, if you remember my notes, also on Angular's page, it will say something like ngFor of. Okay, and that of refers to this of here. Now, be very careful because some people might use like let product in products, and that's wrong. That won't work in Angular. In JavaScript and TypeScript, that's fine, but not in here. And then you get a product name. Again, this is just an array property, and then you get the name out of that. Okay. I don't think the book has, well, it has a list of some of these items or elements you can use. Okay, you can also get the index of the array starting from 0. Okay, it's just like a regular array. You can grab the first item of that list and the last item. You can also check for even or odd. So if it's a even number or even index number, you can do something with that, and if it's odd, you do something else with that. So a little bit nice. Here's another example. Again, if you are interested in polling the index, you have to use this syntax here. Let I, it's a variable that you can create your own. The index is a part of that Angular keyword. So let's just say I will store the index, and so that's why in here you can reference the index in here. So it'll be 0 plus 1. So when you display it, will be the first item. If you don't put plus 1, you get a 0, right? And then it will display the product name. So product here refers to this variable here. The actual list of items is this products over here. Okay, it's the list of products. In this example, it's I think the way it's rendered here, it's a array of objects. Okay. Don't worry about the track by stuff yet. We're not gonna do that in this class, but this is for tracking purposes, especially useful for if you have a really long list of items. And if you just want to make one change to one item, maybe the price or the name of that single item out of 1,000 items on the list. Now, you don't want to do a rendition of that entire list again. So instead of doing that, you can track it. And let's just say that I'm going to track the ID. If the ID changes or whatever that single product change, if that's the only one, then I should render only that part and the rest should stay unchanged. So it doesn't have to render the entire list again. So it's just a way to track your items and for performing purposes. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Now here I have a list of fruits. Again, it has to be an array. So I'm going to show this list to the page here. So normally you could I'll just use a UL. Well, yeah, UL is fine. Pretty common, right? So normally you would do like li, and then here I would show fruits, right, of 0, and that shows the first fruit, which is going to be apple in our case. I missed that. So we have apple. And then you can have another one, and so on, right? So 1, 2, and so forth. So that's the thing. What you want to do is you want to loop through this list so that this li will be rendered through the loop, just like a for each loop, and it only shows you that first So this will be like an I, the index of I, right? Do something like that. Now, if you remember your loop, would be something like this. So I'll do here. Just call it F for now, right? F. And if you do, let's see. See if this works. Okay, let F is that. And if I do like a loop, I can do for and then let I guess item. I'll show the N first and F. If you do that and you try to print this to the console, for example, I'll do a console write, console log. I'm going to log the item. Okay, and I'll save this and the console. Let's see if that shows up. So let's see, the console has some errors here. Let's see, I have something incorrect in my code. I'm sure I had something. Okay, for some reason it doesn't like it. It's interfering with that. So let's move this to the bottom and maybe it doesn't like it up there. Okay. All right. So here I have printed the loop, run through the loop here, item in F, and then it's going to print the item out. But instead of the items, you get these index numbers. Okay, so be careful with the word in here. The in JavaScript and TypeScript as well, you're going to get the index number instead of the actual value. So to get the actual value, you use the keyword of. Okay, so if I save that, you see that now it shows the actual value of that. And this is why in the code up here and up here, it needs to say of. Okay, so let me just again resize this. So let's go ahead and do a rendition of this using the ngFor. I don't like this UL stuff. I'm going to replace it with just a paragraph, make it really simple. Okay, so we put a paragraph and then, or maybe a div. Okay, we'll wrap the paragraphs inside the div. So in here, I'm going to construct a paragraph, and inside the paragraph will show the actual content. So in the div tag, I'll say ngFor, and then here I have the keyword similar to what I have down here. Okay, let item of F. So this will be let. You need to have the keyword let in there. If you don't, it will not work. Let the fruit of all the fruits. Okay, this is how we name your variables, right? Fruits, it's an array of items. So we have fruits, and then fruit will be each fruit of the fruits. It's going to grab the first, the second, and so on. So if I do this, and then now I can go ahead and display the fruit. Okay, not the fruits, this single item here. And it will loop through the entire list. It will display in this order to the side here. So if I save this, and you see that those should be rendered on the page. So all the fruits are listed here. Okay. If you want to grab the index number, then right here after the semicolon, I mean, if you just do this, you don't need a semicolon. I could just leave that out, and I think that should be fine. So you can see nothing affects it. But if you want to grab other things at the index, then again, you have to say let index something like I, for example, be assigned to the index. Okay, so now I have I can access that and put it here if I want to. I'll say I. If you just put I like this, you'll see that it's going to print 0 through however many there are, 5 of them, right? So 0 and so forth. So that's why the book uses I plus 1, so that it will start at 1 instead of 0, and you get something that is more meaningful. Okay, so that is the all of them. If you want to grab just the first item, in this case example apple, then you can put that here. In this case, it's going to loop through everything, but we can say like I'll just put here a special tag. We'll put like an H2 or something, H3, maybe a smaller one. And here we'll put the first item. So I put here first item. Okay. So to do that, again up here, kind of similar to the index, you have to say let first item equal to first. Okay, you can break this into multi-line, I'm pretty sure. You can do that. It's easier to read sometimes. So let the first item be the first. And because it's in a loop, so it's going to print that many times. What I get here? I get true and false. Why is it that? Let me see. Oh, I thought it wrong. This is not actual value. This is a condition, right? And that means if it's the first item, then display here. If it's not, then don't display. And that's how you actually get the value of true and false, because there's only one first item. And if you do a last item, I can do something here. I say let last item equals last. So you grab the last and the first, but this will return a true or false only. If it's the first item, then you display here. So I had this wrong. I should have done like this. Let's say if, right? Do the ng if. We did it before. Ng if it's the first item, if that is true, right? Then go ahead and render the fruit here, and it will display the first item. And you see that it will display apple as bold. And you can do the same thing here for another one, maybe like down here. I mean, it doesn't matter where you put it. If this is the last item, then you put the fruit. It will be just fruit again. It will display all of them, and then you put the pear here as well. Okay. And it displays fruit, apple, toys, pear, toys. You could say the first apple should be that and the rest should not be displayed, right? So back to that if else part. Ng, if this is the first item, then this else, right? You go like else, inside the quotes, else, and just put else part. Okay. And then you have to wrap this inside a template, right? Ng template. Just do this really quick. This is the else part. So this will be displayed for the rest of the items if it's not the first one, and it will print the last one too. Because if you do that, you can also check that. But I'm not going to do that. So it will display the apple as just the first item. Make that bold. If it's not the first item, then go ahead and then load this one. So it's print the rest and this part here. That's why they're all in lower, smaller size. And then the last one here again is just to print the last item. All right. So that is how you use the for loop. The index here, the last and first here. You can also show the odd or even items. Okay, again, just keep adding here. I'm going to expand this a little bit more. Again, let is odd, for example, is a condition. I should have set up here is first, is last. So it's it's a true and false. And this would be odd. And you can do the same thing for the other one. Is even, is equal to even. And it will grab and return true or false based on those values. Okay, so maybe we'll apply the color to like the color red here to all the even numbers, right? And otherwise we'll apply to the odd numbers. Okay, so I'm going to remove this for now. And we'll apply the color to the even and odd. So just say here, so the color is just the style, right? So we did the class here, class.red. If that is true, then we'll check for the is odd or even. Okay, if it's even, then it should be red. Otherwise, it should be black because we didn't supply the other color. Okay, so here we see that it's all red, and I should remove that too. Okay, so all the even numbers is red, and the odd is not. Well, you see that there's a conflict here because the way we worded these numbers, because we put a +1, right? So really, it should be like that. Okay, so this is still even. All these zeros and twos and fours even. This refers to the index number and not the actual display here. So when we display it, it's a little bit different. But anyways, we can leave that for now. And then if it's odd, then you can do this again. Put it down here maybe. And then we'll say if it's odd, and we'll display a different color. Maybe we'll put, you can add a different color if you want. I just put red here, but you could do like a green or something. Okay, and then that will be green. And then that will be green. And this is how you alternate colors in your code. I did not save that one down here. Okay. But as you can see, I did it twice. Okay. Actually, I shouldn't have done that one. Should I do that here? Should put it right here. Right in the same line. This is green. It'll only be one of those, right? It's odd. It won't be, you can't get both of them. It's either green or red. So if it's even, it'll be red. If it's green, if it's odd, it'll be green. Okay, and this will all be rendered, printed out to the page. So that is how the for loop in ngFor works. Now again, this is just a simple array. You could turn this into an array of objects. The syntax will still be the same. The only difference is how you access the data. So instead of fruit, it'll be fruit dot something, right? So if I turn this into an object like this, maybe I'll put the first will be like the red apple. The second is the yellow banana. Okay, and so forth. We could do that, and then we could put a second group. This is the second element. This would be red also. This is for cherry, and they have to kind of match. Okay, if they don't, then you won't get the value. For example, if I change this to a green, right, and I make this yellow, yellow could be a pair. Okay, again, this is an object, so when you grab the item and the key, it's going to grab the key of the array and not the, so you don't have to worry about the index. So this is the index of 0, index of 1, right, and has two elements. So when you save this, you run this, you'll see that it doesn't work the way we have it up here. Let's see if I save this. Okay, you see that it's now an object. That means the fruit here, because left fruit points to this entire object here, the first element. Now to get that first one is like the red. They have to say dot red. Gives me all the red items. It goes to the first row, gets the red, which is apple, go to the second row, grabs the red, which is cherry. So I'm going to have only two in this case. Okay, just the apple and cherry, because there's only two of them. And notice again, I did not get the green and the yellow. If I want to get those, I have to reference those here also. maybe I'll put all the red fruits here. Again, you could go like red, I mean not red, but like yellow also. Fruit dot yellow. Okay, you put that here. And then the first item, you put both of them, banana and the apple and cherry and pear. And the third is the green one. What about the green one? Well, I could do that again here. I put fruit dot green. Okay. And because the first one doesn't have it, it will just skip that, right? It's not found. And then the second record or second field element has green, but that's part of the second element. So be very careful with that. And usually when you build your objects, they kind of have to like line up. I mean, the order is not important here, I guess, because you're going to reference the actual key anyway. Okay, so I could put this in the last. I could put this over here. It doesn't matter, because when I reference it, I'm referencing the actual key. So you can see that it should still be fine, because the dot red, dot yellow, and dot green. Again, I mentioned in my other notes, and that you can also use array in here. And you can see that should still be fine. Well, is it really true? Well, let's put something here, or put like dates or something. Okay, so you can see that it shows up here for the yellow, even though it's not yellow. All right, so I hope this is helpful, and you have any questions, shoot me an email, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to answer any of your questions you have. Thank you so much.